I got a special set of locals gameplay for you today. We get to play Nami v Nami, and then Nami versus Rob Lucci as game number 2. The first hand is absolutely insane for the mirror. You'll just get to see how it is. It's pretty solitary in OP07, but the Rob Lucci matchup is also interesting considering the fact that you have to account for 3-cost Brook popping your Kayas, and then you also have to account for 6-cost Brook bottom decking stuff from your trash. But note that you do get to choose the cards, so if my Kayas are getting popped by 3-cost Brook, then I'm bottom decking my Kayas with the 6-cost Brook. Anyway, both the games end up really well, and I do want to showcase here, if I can just kind of go back on the track, if I just kind of go back here and pause it, remove my screen, that is a slabbed 10 Nami. Alt-art Nami. Come on. Shout out to my opponent for the ultimate flex on that part. Come on, you gotta leave a like for the slab 10 Nani. Regardless, these games are being held at Nerdvana Games at my locals, Markham, Ontario, Canada. If y'all want to play some One Piece with me, you can find me there usually at 1 o'clock on Saturdays for locals. Regardless, enjoy the games, leave a like on the video, and comment down below the type of matchups you want to see next. As y'all kind of saw a little bit there from the intro, this hand is absolutely insane. It is 4 Apis and a Kaya. This is probably, outside of just the Kaya being like a peel-off, this is probably one of the single best hands that you could have in the matchup. Because what's great is, like, there isn't a lot of combat that happens in the matchup. And so what you do is you do a lot of draw, go. And so with those extra cards, you can pitch the Apis to then find your peel-offs and all that stuff. So you actually don't want them here. The Mirror Breaker is 4 peel-offs. Right? You don't play 3, you don't play 2. The Mirror Breaker is 4 peel-offs, and I managed to find my way into all 4. Tell me I'm cheating. Tell me I put all those Apises there. Anyway, they take the draw. So I start off with the Kaya, draw 2, and discard those 2 cards immediately. Arguably, this is actually incorrect. You probably just want to wait for more cards, because what if I drew a peel-off? What if I drew other stuff? You kind of just want to wait, but regardless, I wasn't terribly punished. They Gloriosa on their side. Oh, that beautiful slabbed Nami is staring back at me. But thanks to these Apis, I think you can kind of predict that we're going to end up doing a lot more work here. So they end up getting themselves a mellow, and we're having a good time the whole way through. My opponent and I were having a great time the whole way through. So I kind of realized the situation. I say, go to 2 Donna and pass, because I'm waiting for one more card. I want to make sure that I'm pitching the exact cards I need to get the cards that I need. So they go on the Margaret here. I make sure I play the Margaret, draw a card. There you go. So you maximize that, right? And then you you Apis, you pitch these 2 events. You look at the top 5. Take a look, folks. Oh, that peel off comes off the top, baby. All right, we are drawing right now. So we're gonna. I don't think the bottom order matters too much. It doesn't matter too much. Regardless, though, we bottom deck it that way. Me and my big head. Comment big head down below, by the way. If y'all think my head is big, comment big head down below. We draw a card. And then what we do is we peel off to start things off, draw 2 cards. And then we start off with a Gloriosa, right? Because you're maximizing the amount of cards that you could put in your hand. You pull out as much as you can. In this case, we're definitely grabbing the Margarets here. We see a Kaya at the bottom, which is great. So we can go Margaret into draw the Kaya. And then at that point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm thinking, do I use the 3 Dawn to kind of do what I need to do? I think at this point, put the Nami down there. I'm going to pitch the 2 events. Look at the top 5 again. And there's the Zeph. There is the one of Zeph coming through in such a big way. You're actually, surprise, you're going to see that Zeph come through in game number 2 as well. So stick around for that Rob Lucci matchup where we're going to see Zeph really clutch out for us as well. So we're going to save out that Zeph. We're going to save out that Margaret. The Zeph is going to be a great way to bounce Kayas, potentially bounce the Margaret. Because the thing with Kaya is it kind of forces you to discard cards. We're really low on card advantage. So they pass. They're not getting anywhere. As you can very much see, they are getting nowhere here. We're going to pay 3 Dawn. We are going to Margaret first to draw a card. We draw ourselves an event, and then what we do is we're going to play 5 here. We're going to pay 5. We're going to play Zeph. We're going to pitch the Margaret here. We're going to bounce the Kaya. We're going to mill 2 cards. 2, and then we're going to pay 1 Dawn, draw 2. Ooh, we're going to pitch 2 events. We are just drawing it up like a beauty here. And again, like, look, we are just playing solitaire here. Our opponent isn't doing much. Without the combat that comes in with the Zeph mind games, it just becomes so much tougher. And I honestly, I should have just taken this hit from the opponent. They're just trying to get something going, but again, you know, they're a Nami made themselves. They're just kind of having some fun as well. They know pretty much as well that you should not be swinging the mirror, but they're getting no movement whatsoever. Regardless, though, I see a peel off going to the bottom. I Gloriosa to kind of grab that mellow, pull a card out. Then at this point, we are gonna pay 3 Dawn. We're gonna peel off. We're gonna draw 2 cards. Oh, we find the peel off again. They're just dying laughing at this point. Margaret goes to my hand. Another card goes to my hand. They're just laughing because they're like they're not going anywhere. Look at my deck versus their deck, and it's so hard to see visually, right? When it pits these 2 cards for an Apis, it's so hard to see visually, but we are so much farther in the game than them. I believe we whiff here, actually. Yeah, that is a hard whiff. There's no East Blue card there. I'm double checking, but I know there ain't no East Blue card happening over there. So that's a little unfortunate. Regardless, though, we pay the 1 Dawn here. Everything's slipping and sliding off the top loaders here. We pitch a Gloriosa. We are going to draw 2. We are going to go drop the Apis, because the Margaret's like hard draws card. I probably should have just kept the Apis in this case because it helps me dig deeper. But next turn is going to be like Margaret, Kaya, and take it from there. They pay 3 Dawn. They peel off on their end. They're going to attach 2 here. I'm going to take the hit because I'm finally starting to realize that this is absolutely insane. So the Snake Dance trigger, I'm going to choose no targets on their side. So I'm actually going to bounce the Zeph because I remember that Snake Dance initial trigger allows me to bounce anything, which is huge value. And it's up to 1 on your opponent's side. So I don't have to bounce anything. I don't have to bounce a Gloriosa. And so, yeah, we're popping off with Zeph here. We're popping off with Zeph here. Bounce the Kaya, mill 2 cards. I lost a peel off there. I lost my peel off there. Draw 2, discard 2. Pay 1 Dawn. Or sorry, not pay 1 Dawn. What am I doing? Did I pay this right? Sorry, I said pay Kaya. I was like, oh Lord, I hope I wasn't cheating here. We are going to kind of pitch the Apis to the graveyard here. Draw 2, discard 2 cards, discard the 2 events here, and then we are going to pay 3 Dawn. We're going to Margaret. Draw a card. We want to keep our blocker up in case I get the rush Usopp coming at me. You always got to be ready for stuff like that. You really don't know when it comes to Nami players. Y'all really be doing too much. Anyway, they play draw go here. We're at no cards in hand. I'm gonna peel off. I'm gonna draw 2 cards. And at this point, what's funny here is like it kind of just becomes this stalemate. It actually hilariously becomes a stalemate. I let go of a Kaya here. I draw 1 card. Look at the cards in my hand. It's pure combat. It's pure combat here. There's absolutely nothing that I'm doing here. So at this point, I believe I have 3 cards left in deck. They're finally starting to draw some cards here, right? So they play their Kaya. They're going to draw a discard. I can't swing in with the Zeph. That Margaret is there. So if I overpay and I can get a hit in, they're just going to block with the Margaret. So that kind of can make that a little bit confusing. But regardless, we have events. They can't really attack. They get their Apis. They're starting to spin their wheels a little bit now too, right? So they're going to be able to kind of look at the top 5, find something to look for, and really see. I mean, they find themselves a rubber band there. As you can see, I'm checking my deck. There are 3 top loaders left. So they got themselves a 3-card turn. I'm going to draw and pass. That's it, right? So they go to their turn, and they're going to untap, and they're going to see if they're going to make it work. And surprise, surprise, they probably will not. We are so far into our deck. Like, they have like 20 plus cards to go through at this point. Y'all realize that, right? Like 20 plus cards, slab Nami, right? Like, and they're not like specifically built for this mirror. Like they are playing like Mr. Ones in their build and everything as well. Notably, this player is a RP Law player. They primarily wanted to play that, and they kind of agreed to play the Nami for the sake of the content. And so I do appreciate that. So if y'all were watching and they're like, yeah, they can't beat me. They just kind of put up their life. They're like, yeah, Kaya's there. Anyway, GG's. Let's hop right into the Rob Lucci matchup here. Opponent starts off with 1 Dawn. This is actually the last round of locals. I had a bunch more games recorded in between. This is the last round. Our opponent and I actually agreed to split. Just want to make sure that appears on the audio. But my opponent's great here. They are a highly skilled player. They're a great Whitebeard player, actually, but they're playing Lucci today. They know themselves that the Nami matchup isn't great. So I'm kind of explaining to them the whole millstone situation. They're like, are those cards like on your Dawn expensive? I'm like, nah, these are like $3 each. But if I had the OG printing of millstone, it wouldn't be that much more expensive, but we'd be truly balling here. So, hey, y'all know where I can get like 10, OG printings of millstone. That'd be great. They swing 8K. I go gavel, pitch, mill 2 cards. Come on now. It's easy. So my opponent asked me just kind of speak out some of the counters. They don't have too much experience versus Nami matchup recently, so you just want to be aware of the numbers here. And I'm like, perfectly fine. So I go to draw on my turn. I got 4 Dawn here. I'm going to play out a Margaret, noting that Margaret is one of our better blockers in this matchup, because a lot of times what happens is, I'm going to draw a card there, second Kaya, 5 cards in hand, don't have to worry about putting. But Margaret, a lot of times what happens is they can only pop this with like Rob Lucci, or even if they want to prop this with Brook, it needs to be at like 1 cost already. Rob Lucci only takes it down to 2 cost, which is very hard because they don't necessarily want to be playing Rob Lucci into that just to pay pop 1 character. They know they can get more value than that as they play Sabo, draw 2, discard 2. So Margaret actually ends up being really good in this matchup. I would highly recommend in a lot of cases, if you can, play out your Margaret. In terms of like stuff like Zeph, like they tend to have like stuff that can get rid of stuff like that, but Margaret tends to be a lot better. So we're going to draw 2 here, and we're going to discard 2 cards. Note that I already have a Pilaf here. It was definitely better to play the Pilaf. So don't do what I'm doing here. Don't play the Kaya, play out the Pilaf. In this case, now what I'm going to do is I already committed to the Kaya, and I'm like, man, if they play Rob Lucci here, I'm cooked. If they play Brook here, my Kaya is gone. So I'm like, all right, I'm kind of committing to the bit here, which isn't really ideal. I'm going to play another Kaya, try and dig for a white snake. So I'm going to draw 2 cards. I don't find the white snake. And I'm thinking like, okay, if they manage to kill both, if I block with the blocker, they kill one of my Kayas here, I have the other Kaya that I could still bounce with the white snake. So I was committing to the bit. But realistically, what you should be doing here is that whole turn should have just been peel off pass. Like it really should have been peel off pass. You would have been able to counter out of everything else. But regardless, it didn't work out that way. Just kind of some tidbits there. At this point, we know that our opponent is looking to kind of destroy some of our stuff. They know about the snake dance happening. They're looking at the resources they have in their graveyard and kind of the numbers, especially in terms of what they need to mill. There are some cards that require them to return cards to their deck to use. So I'm thinking, if they're checking that, they're thinking about Rob Lucci's and all that stuff. So 3 cost Brook comes down. Now asking them, yeah, do you want to pop Kaya? What do you want to do here? And they're like, yeah, pop the Kaya here. And then they're going to swing 5k -1 cost on the blocker. And I'm thinking, yeah, they're Rob Lucci here. If they're checking their graveyard, they're Rob Lucci. So I'm going to block immediately to minimize the value of that Rob Lucci, which they play out here. So they pay their 4. They only pop 1 character. So that's the type of value that you want to maximize there. And so that's how you see in that situation where the 3 cost Margaret is, again, so good. So now we peel off draw 2 here. And we look to pass the turn. You see how it's really good because of the amount of resources and cards they need just to kill it, right? And that's the way Rob Lucci is built. It's so much better for a black matchup for us because it's better against the rest of the meta. It's better against Law, it's better against NL than Moria. Moria can be a bit more kind of all in. So now they're on their 9 Dawn turn here. And I believe they just all swing. Yeah, they attach all Dawn to the Rob Lucci here. And they just want to confirm a hit here. We've been counting out of a lot. And what their later reasoning here is that they go all in, confirm a hit, and then they kind of force us to have the white snake to start swinging in 6k. That's kind of their reasoning that they give me later on, because I'm like, why not just kind of spread out the Dawn, swing 9s? Let me know. I mean, look, our triggers aren't going to be too great this game. We still got to bluff them with our Gloriosa. But let me know if you feel like that's a good strat. I feel like still swinging 9s is better. I'm going to go peel off, draw 2 cards here. And we're just sitting pretty with like, 11 cards in hand or something. I don't know. It's like some crazy amount. We're like 10 or something. I don't even know. So I'm thinking of whether or not I should pop a Margaret, pop another one of these blockers. What I'm going to do first, 6k, swing at the Rob Lucci, force a card out of their hand. That's the first thing I'm going to do, right? So get that card out of there. Make sure they don't have those resources. We're going to Gloriosa, see if we can't find a snake dance, which we happen to do here in this case. But I'm thinking, if I grab the snake dance or not, is it better for me if they're going to swing 6Ks to grab the 2K? Just as something for free, something to pitch. And I feel like that's probably going to end up being better, especially if I want to save myself to counter out later in the game. The snake dance might actually be better left kind of later on. So, and this is another one of those cases where it's probably better to be playing out like multiple characters at the same time to value out my snake dance, which is also why I didn't grab that, because I'm like, in this turn, I don't want to play the Kai. I don't want to use all my Dawn. They're going to blank swing 4K just to pop my Gloriosa. Snake dance has so much less value. I should just get the 2K here because I'm not going to be able to bounce a character. They play 4 cost draw 2, discard 2 here. They're building out their board. They're trying to find their resources and they're trying to find their Brooks. That's really what this is out. They're trying to find 6 cost Brook here. So they're on their 10 Dawn turn. They have exactly 6 Dawn left. And the card that we have to expect here is 6 cost Brook. And there it is. And so the cards that we're going to put back are 2 Kayas and 2 Pilafs. And this is kind of what I was talking about in the intro, where the power of Brook isn't as bad. It's not as big as you think it might be, because I get to choose. And now, based on bottom decking off of Spadas, off of Gloriosas, I can push those back up to the top. And that's kind of how you beat this this Lucci matchup. Even if they Lucci you, Brook you a bunch of times, it doesn't matter. We're going to peel off here. I don't know why my deck's like upside down here. My yard's upside down. We're going to draw 2 cards there. And at this point, so many cards in hand. Their board isn't that crazy. I don't really want to play anything out. I'm thinking about whether I need a swing. I'm going to attach 1 Dawn here. Swing at the 4K, just because I got to get around the 6 cost blockers here. They're going to block with Sabo here in a second and then counter out. But, kind of get a card out of there. And that's what it's really about. Just get our resources, make sure they don't have the answers that they need. We have an insane hand in this case. So their board is full. This is where it starts to get a little bit scary. I believe, largely speaking, we need to kind of go through like 2 more turns here. I always talk about the inflection point turn. They're going for that large swing, and I think this is where like this kind of strategy doesn't really work out for them. I'm also going to look out to counter here. So I'm going to white snake first. I'm going to draw a card. And this is where I ultimately think this type of strategy does not work. I think it would have been better for them if they started swinging 9 on a wide board. And that's what I ultimately ended up telling them later in the game. So we're going to go gavel pitch the 2K that I ended up searching for. So much for free value, I guess, right? Mill over a Sandersonia and a Mellow there. Keeping the white snake on there. We're at 10K. We need to get to 17. That Rob Lucci swinging for 16. So that's where we need to get here. We're going to go gavel pitch the Margaret. That brings us up to 14K, and then we're going to mill over 2 cards, the Snake Dance and the Spada. A little unfortunate we have to get rid of the Margaret. Margaret's a good blocker. It's a good redraw here. Then we're going to, I paid 2 Dom, but just 1 at a time here. I'm going to go Spada first. This brings me to 16K exactly. I'm going to use the other spot in a second. I'm actually going to bottom deck these. Not only do I not want these cards, but also it helps push that Pilaf and that Kaya back up to that top. Right, and that's going to play into big importance here. So I'm gonna peel off. Sorry, not peel off. I'm gonna spot it here. I'm gonna put a peel off to the top, and you're gonna see that bottom deck that I just did actually play into potentially win me the game. We'll keep watching the video and you'll see. So now they swing just 6K. I am at 6K exactly here. I'm going to pitch the 2K up to 8. They're going to swing 6K again. I'm thinking about whether or not I should take this. I could pitch the Gloriosa as well. I don't think I want to take too many hits because next turn I'm probably going to end up taking a bunch of hits. So I'm going to swing myself back up to 7. I'm going to untap with a bunch of Dawn. And I know I'm drawing with the Pilaf off the top, right? So I'm drawing enough resources. I'm like, who'd have thunk it? How'd I know the Pilaf was there? Anyway, I draw myself a Margaret and a Gavel, and we're going to start that off with a Kaya because I'm going to try and keep that Margaret for the Gavel pitch. I don't want to use too much Dawn right now, especially considering the cost of things. I'm going to get a Kaya and see what I can kind of find here. So I'm going to pitch at least the 2K here. With the Apis, I'm at least going to pitch the 2K. I'm actually also going to pitch the White Snake as well, kind of indicating to them that I'm not really going to look to bounce things. I want to look to use up everything in my hand. I have 5 Dawn and the ability to cast 2 Love Loves and a Gavel pitch. So I can play every single event in my hand. That's going to be my general plan. That's how I'm going to kind of make it out here. I didn't want to pitch anything else. I guess I could have pitched the Margaret and kept the Snake Dance up for information, but at this point I'm counting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards. So this is that inflection point turn in my opinion. So they're going to raw swing, pop my Kaya, where I need to make sure that I can get there right at the end. I need to take some amount of hits, but I don't want to take too many in case my triggers are bad. I don't want to take too many here. So we're going to see how my triggers end up here. So now they're thinking about how they need to spread out their Dawn. Now they start swinging 9s. Now it starts getting a little dangerous here, right? So now we're going to have to overpay. So I'm going to go Mellow, redraw a card, see if I can get like a 1K counter. Unfortunately, I can't. So I'm going to have to go Gavel pitch the Impel down here to overpay up to 13K against a 9K swing. This is the type of value that you want against Nami. I'm going to mill over 2 cards, Impel down White Snake. I'm going to swing 9K again here. I'm going to take this hit, bluff it out for the Kaya. That's a card that I want to keep. Hundo P. And I'm thinking yo, I got to start taking some hits, right? I definitely got to start taking some hits. And I think it's better to just take this instead of like I could have, honestly, I could have just mellowed here and then redrawn with that, which probably would have been better. I could have mellowed and chosen not to buff, which probably would have just been net better. So I'm going to Kaya. I'm going to draw 2. I'm thinking here, because at this point, I have the Zeph. Y'all see that I drew the Zeph, right? That Zeph is going to help me win this game. So now I'm saying I got to resolve this Kaya still. Still in my hand, I got to discard 2 cards. I have 7 cards. I know that I bottom deck 3 cards. The next 3 cards are peel off Kaya, and then a mystery card on top. I just have to get to those Kayas. So if you can look at my Donna, you look at it mathematically, I think y'all realize that I can win this game. The line of play here, you'll see it in a second here. And I'm going back and double checking. I'm visualizing it in my head. I'm like, okay, where are the Pilafs, where are the Kayas? I realize I have to get rid of the Pilaf. That's kind of step 1. So I'm going to finish resolving the Kaya here. I'm going to get rid of the Mellow. I'm going to get rid of the 2K. Easy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay 5. And I'm going to play the Zeph out. That's going to mill over the I'm gonna bounce the Kaya. That's gonna mill over a mystery card, which ends up being a Snake Dance and a peel off here. I guess I should have known the Snake Dance was there. I believe I bottom decked something early enough. Now I'm gonna Kaya, draw 2, and then discard 2 cards. And then at this point, we know, folks, it's written in the stars right here. Draw 2, discard 2, and then play out my other Kaya. GG's. Thank you for a great round, opponent.